Welcome back to Tabletop Assault. I'm Ross, and today I'm going to be looking at the Dark Angels datasheets, and in that I'm going to examine 5 units that are going to be my highlights for the Dark Angels. Starting off, we're going to look at the Chapter Master for the Dark Angels, Azrael. So in terms of stats, he matches along with Dante and Calgar, but considering he's not in either Gravis armor or with a jump pack, this is the sort of stats we'd expect to see from him. In terms of weapons, this is where it's a bit unusual in that his ranged is very effective. It's got anti-infantry, it's got devastating wounds, and it allows him to contribute in a way to ranged firepower, which is not bad. And in melee, he's not bad. He does this a fantastic AP of -4, which is great, but will struggle to wound as his strength is a little bit low and he is only damage 2, but he does have a good amount of attacks at 6, and they are devastating wounds. But it is something to consider. It would have been nice if he did have the anti-infantry here as well. In terms of abilities though, he grants sustained hits 1 for extra attacks, which is great. Unit gains a 4+ invul save and 4+ feel no pain once against mortal wounds, which will help with the unit he's with in survivability. And he has a free command point farm, giving out a free command point as long as he is on the battlefield on your command phase. Overall, I think he's actually a very effective backed field force multiplier. I've seen a lot of people discuss that I think he's probably best suited with Hellblasters, and I am sort of in agreement with that one. The main part being is that they'll benefit the most really from that 4-up invul save, because some of the other viable units there, such as the Blade Guard vet squad, they already have a save, an invul save. So he's adding into that as well. He's also granting the sustained hits, which would be absolutely fantastic with Hellblasters, and if you maybe chuck in Apothecary as well, they'll keep going for a bit longer as well. And generally with the Lion's Wrath, he also contributes in that range. So a lot of people might be, no, we wish him to be a more combat monster, but I actually like it that they do have someone who is suited for backfield. Not everyone needs to be absolutely running about in combat. He does well in combat, but he also can contribute towards ranged firepower, and I really like that. Ravenwing Black Knights, and in terms of stats, they are pretty similar to regular Marines on bikes. You get your exceptional speed, good toughness, 3 wounds, and nice obsec too. The bonus they also have is 5-up invul save, which should help them survive a little bit more of those heavier AP based weapons. In terms of their own weapons, the Plasma Talons are really nice, potential of 3 shots in rapid fire range. And they do have combat weapons which are nice. They're okay strength, pretty good AP, but a little bit low in damage. If they were damage 2, it would have been fantastic. In terms of abilities, they have Knights of Caliban, which on the charge should threaten vehicles and monsters. Not to a huge degree, because you are still only damage 1, but you will at least present a little bit of harassment on them. If a vehicle is, for instance, not good in combat itself, these guys will be able to chip away a bit of wounds on them, so that's pretty good. Overall, I think points will determine this unit's use, but they should really be teamed up with Samael. The reason being is that he's got a good bonus that allows him to advance and shoot and charge, which gives them an already impressive speed and just makes a very, very fast unit that will be able to cause quite a bit of harassment, move about, contribute in shooting, and also do a little bit in combat as well. So overall, I think that's quite a nice unit. On to the Ravenwing Dark Talon, and in terms of stats, fairly standard for a marine based flyer. Would have liked a little bit of extra toughness there. If that was just toughness 9, it would have really gone quite well. In terms of weapons, got 2 Hurricane Bolters offering 24 shots in rapid fire, which with Trin linked will help really hurt horde units or units with low armour. And then the Rift Cannon, which is good, it has great strength, great AP, and the damage is not bad at 3. So it means sort of the tougher infantry-based units or models that have 3 wounds will really feel the effect of this one. Large anvil units will really be hurt quite well, but if you need a vehicle to get a wee bit of damage on it as well, this should also help. In terms of abilities, we of course have the Stasis Bomb, which is mediocre damage, it's fine there, but that's not why you take it. Ability to stop a unit from advancing or falling back. On a D6 roll of 4+, all movement is stopped. I'd mainly take this as stopping the guaranteed advance or fallback. Specifically the fallback, you maybe want to lock a unit in combat as best as possible. Don't allow them to get away. The 50-50 chance of stopping a unit entirely, well, that could go well. Is 50-50 chance. There might be a unit that you just really want to stay in place, and you never know, you might get it. In which case that could be a game-changing move. Overall, I think it's effective at getting rid of chaff units. I think that's what it's going to do really well in, and then the Stasis Bomb will probably hammer down onto opponent mid-game and make them, one of those units, a little bit more difficult to get away, or just make them stuck entirely. Next we have an iconic unit in the Deathwing Knights. So in terms of stats, they are what you kind of expect from Terminators, though their shield is providing them a 4th wound. Weaponry sort of lacks in strength and AP. You'd hope that they would actually be strength 8, similar to Power Fists, and AP -1 is not ideal, though they are damage 3, which is quite rare in this game, so that is useful there. Although the Flail of Unforgiven is only damage 2 but has an extra AP but a bunch of abilities. And in terms of abilities, we have Inner Circle, which is a natural -1 to damage, which is fantastic straight off the bat. A large amount of durability from them. Essentially, if you're getting hit by something that was damage 2, instead of needing 2 shots to kill a model, it's needing 4 shots, so that is fantastic. Damage 3 will not feel this much yet, so damage 3 will still go back to needing 2 to take you down. And they do have Watcher in the Dark, which is an emergency 4+ Funeral Pain against mortal wounds, which can be a Terminator's weakness, getting past a lot of their invul save and survivability, so having that there just in case, very, very good. Overall, I think this is going to be a very impressive anchor unit. Put in the unit in the area you want it to take and make them absolutely impossible to shift. There's some great stratagems to help in there as well. Add in a leader to give them further abilities to make them a truly feared unit. Possibly a Chaplain Terminator armor for that extra +1 to wounds, which would be really good. And then 4+ Funeral Pain to mortal wounds always, which is a good way to keep them going. And of course, how can we not discuss Lionel L. Johnson? What a glow up he's had really since his first announcement. People were a little bit disappointed. I think now we'll see a little bit more use for him. So same as Guilliman, not as much surprises here. Good toughness, wound, save, and especially the invul save. In terms of weapons, it's the Armour Luminous is effective for a pistol weapon. I think that's quite nice. Good bit of shooting there. Fealty stats are impressive, though possibly lacking in just that little bit extra strength would have not have gone amiss there as well. Sustained hits on sweep is good, but lethal hits on fealty seems a little bit wasted. I think devastating wounds would have been absolutely fantastic, considering he's got a lower strength. Having that extra bit of, how can I put it, getting through the devastating wounds so those wounds become mortal would have been much more ideal. But still, having those lethal hits will help just get in there. In terms of ability, the first one is Fight First. That is exceptionally useful. It just means that if Lionel L. Johnson is ever charged himself, hopefully your opponent possibly is looking to get the drop on him, he should be fighting first in that engagement, because how the fight phase works now is that all fight first units go first, and it's the person whose turn is not taking place goes first. So you might see Lionel L. Johnson get the drop on your opponent there. Deep Strike, which feels a little bit wasted. Suppose it can go in with, if you want to bring along your Deathwing Knights, then yeah, that can help. But I just feel that, generally you might move them up the field with a large protected unit. That might be the way you go on that side. -1 to wounds will keep him going for longer. Primarch abilities are okay. I feel the 4+ Funeral Pain on mortal wounds will see a lot of use, just in case he is targeted with mortal wounds. It'll give him a bit more survivability there. All secrets revealed for a mind game with your opponent may be able to work out. I mean, that's quite good. And then the +1 to hit will be useful as well if you're going to play quite aggressively. Overall thought, very impressive in combat, very good in survivability. Look forward to see the games that he's played in and see how he works out. And that is it for my 5 unit highlights when it comes to Dark Angels. Let me know what you think. Is there been any units that are standing out? Maybe some combinations, stratagems, enhancements that are making a unit really feared? Interested to read them in the comments. Thanks again, and see you on another Tabletop Assault Battle Report.